What is going on, my fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives Make Money Online Training Podcast. It's your boy, Brian Mark, and in today's episode, it's my 33rd birthday. It's my birthday. It's October 28th, 1991. Your boy was born. I just turned 33 today. And to celebrate my 33rd birthday, I felt like the optimal thing to do would be to share my top 3 life lessons from my 30s. And so without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight into it. And for those of you guys that listen to my podcast, for those of you guys that tune in every single day, for those of you guys that get value from my shit, a way that you guys could fucking wish me happy birthday would be going to leave my podcast a rating. You could do that on Apple. You could do that on Spotify. You could do that on iTunes, whatever. Leave my podcast a rating. Let me know that you listen to the podcast. I like reading that kind of shit on my birthdays. That to me is just like, yeah, I love reading that kind of stuff. So if you guys can leave me a review, that'd be amazing. Cool. All right, let's get into it. Now, the top 3 life lessons from my 30s. I actually went through my camera roll on my phone because I didn't just want to like write this from the cuff. I actually wanted it to mean something. And so I actually wanted to think about like the top 3 things that I did learn in the last 3 years. And after scrolling through my phone and my camera roll, I did find them. So lesson number 1 is the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And this lesson came to me in November of 2021. I had just like came off of $1 million month. So October 21 was my first ever $1 million month. And honestly, I was kind of slipping into complacency and I was getting lazy. Me and Kirsten were in Mexico and all inclusive. I was kind of drinking, kind of partying. I was kind of looked like a fucking beluga whale. Like I was just getting lazy. And in Mexico is when B Mark Fit, my old Instagram account, got disabled. And I remember when it got disabled, like I was like, first one got disabled. I was like, oh, it'll be back in like 24 hours, whatever. And so I didn't really think anything of it. And then 24 hours after it wasn't back, I was like, oh, fuck. I'm like, and then 24 hours after it wasn't back and I couldn't get it back, I was like, yo, like, this is a fucking really big problem right now. Like, this is like my primary sales engine. So, like, I spent the next 24 hours figuring out whether or not I was going to try to get back or start a new account. And I ended up starting a new Instagram account, which is what you see here, The Real Brian Mark. But the reason I think that happened to me is because I think the universe was trying to shake me a little bit. I think the reason the universe was trying to shake me a little bit is because I had slipped into complacency. Like PT Domination started in 2018, and over the course of the next 3 years, like we grew a lot. And after we grew a lot, I was just fucking chilling. I was a little bit of a porker, not gonna lie. I was getting lazy with my habits. I was drinking. I was like letting myself, like, I was just not the best version of Brian. And I think the universe was like fucking give me a little fucking shake and it's like, wake your ass up. And like, I think the universe gives you adversity anytime it's trying to like shake you. So I learned that the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And what that means is like, you can never slip into complacency because the devil is always present. That's what that means. You can never slip into complacency because the devil is always present. It's like the second that you take your foot off the gas, and especially when God gives you momentum, when the universe gives you a path, when everything starts working out for you and everything you touch is working, like you need to fucking have a lot of reverence for that, a lot of gratitude for that, and treat it with the respect it deserves. So the first life lesson is the bigger you are, the harder you fall. What that means is like when you get momentum, you better fucking keep it. Like work your ass off to maintain it. And like don't let yourself slip. Don't let yourself fall because the devil's there just fucking waiting for you to slip. Lesson number 2, this is what I learned on my honeymoon, is it's better to be honest even when it hurts, rather than to tell a lie, which we think hurts less, but always hurts worse. So on my honeymoon this was 2022, and Kirsten and I go out and we're at a bar. And this is like, I just got absolutely fucking obliterated. And when I was fucked up, I remember thinking to myself, like, I wish I could do drugs. And so I looked at the bartender and like, if you're a drug addict, you understand this, or if you have been a drug addict or you've been in the drug scene, like I can literally tell who has the drugs if I'm out looking. If I'm out at a bar, I know who has drugs and who doesn't. I just know. And so I looked at the bartender and I'm like, do you have any cocaine? And he was like, yep. So I ended up getting some from the bartender. I ended up doing it. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, what the fuck did I just do? But I didn't want to taint the memory of my honeymoon. And so I just didn't tell Kirsten. I just fucking lied to her. I just like, it's not that I quote unquote lied. I just also didn't tell the truth because I felt like me not telling the truth and me not saying like, yo, I did drugs. I felt like that was going to hurt less. But over the course of the next 6 months, Kirsten and I drifted further and further apart. And we drifted because I wasn't being fucking honest. but she didn't know that I wasn't being honest, but she sensed that something was off. And I was trying to defend myself and protect myself. So like when she got too close, I would fucking push away. And every night when I went to bed, I'd have my fucking conscience just telling me like, you need to tell your fucking wife what you did on your honeymoon. And then I'd be like silencing it, being like, no, it's going to my grave. And then finally one night it got too much and I was like laying in bed. It was like late in the night. And I was like, yo, I need to tell you something fucked up. And I told her. And the pain that we went through in like the next month was more painful than what if I would have just been honest in the first place. So like the way that I operate now is like with my friends, with my family, with everybody, I'm just honest up front. Like I know that me telling you something that you're not going to like is going to suck. Like I'm aware of that. And I'm aware that I might hurt your feelings. And I'm aware that this might not align with like what you had in mind for me or your perception of me, but I'm just going to tell you the truth because it's better to be honest, even if it hurts, rather than telling a lie, which we think hurts less, but always hurts worse. So that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3. This is a good one. This is one that I got to practice this weekend. Life gets easier when you admit what you want, rather than keeping it underneath the surface as an intuition that guides you when you fall into pain. I think a lot of us don't actually admit what we want. And because we don't admit what we want to ourselves and we're not honest with ourselves about where we want to go, we have a really hard time making the right decision. You know, the decision to go out or stay in, the decision to drink or and do drugs, or the decision to not, the decision to whatever it is. It's like we have a hard time with our decisions because a lot of us don't actually admit to ourselves what we want. But when you admit to yourself what you want and you're honest with yourself about what you want and you like are clear about what you want, the destination, the goal, the place that you'd like to get to, it allows you to make the right decision in the moment easily and effortlessly because you can make the right decision based on where you want to go. However, what most people do, and this is what I have done in the past, and I no longer do this is one of my biggest life lessons, is they don't actually admit to themselves what they want, but they know it, like you know it, your intuition knows it, which is why when you make a decision that puts you out of alignment with your goals, you feel like shit, right? Even if you don't like consciously admit it to yourself, when you make a decision that puts you out of alignment with your goals, you feel like shit, right? You feel that lack of momentum. You feel like garbage. But if you just admit to yourself what you want, the type of money you want to have, the type of relationship you want to have, the type of man you want to be, the type of lifestyle you'd like to create, when you admit to yourself what you want, what happens is you give yourself the right permission to take the right actions without having to second guess it. Like I make hard decisions easily because I know what I want. It's like, I know the fucking place I'm going to go to, and every fucking decision that I make, I look through the lens of, is this going to get me closer to or further away from my goals? And if the answer is closer to, I do it. And if the answer is further away, I don't. And even if the answer is closer to, and that means investing money, I do it. Even if the answer, it gets me closer to, but it means I have to cut out a friend, I do it. Even if it's like, this answer is going to get me closer to, and it involves a big sacrifice, I do it. Because life gets easier when you admit what you want. I don't want to have like what I want buried beneath the surface and then be guided by my pain that I feel when I make the wrong decision. Does that make sense? I would rather just admit what I want, say it to the universe, speak it out loud, speak my goals into existence. And then as I'm moving through life, I'm just making decisions that are getting me closer to those goals. So the top 3 lessons for my 30s. Number 1, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. Never slip into complacency because the devil is always present. Number 2, it's better to be honest even when it hurts, rather than telling a lie, which we think hurts less, but always hurts worse. And number 3, life gets easier when you admit what you want, rather than keeping it underneath the surface as an intuition that guides you when you fall into pain. Hopefully this helps you. I hope you have the best day of your fucking life. Thanks for all the birthday wishes, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at @TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.